All right. Welcome, Guillaume. I'm so glad you're here. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Asai. Happy to be here. My name is Guillaume Pascual. I head product marketing at OpenText in the consumer division, so mostly in the cybersecurity business, but with a consumer audience. And my background is has been in tech all along. I've worked at Apple, Microsoft back in Europe. I worked for Norton LifeLock, the antivirus company, cybersecurity, and I also have some startup experience here in Toronto. For 2 years, I worked for a augmented reality company, a startup, helping it grow in the early stages. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
That's awesome. And I think product marketing is something that a lot of people are not clear about. But you can tell the benefits. Like you can tell when someone has a good product marketer on their team, there's a like a night and day difference. So I wanted to connect with you just to get you to help us to really understand the benefits. So how do you know when your product marketing is performing and the signals are there? Like what are some of the signals that say this thing is working, the benefits are compounding, and it's not just, oh, we're converting here and there?
Yeah, so this will all be my personal opinion and experience. So I don't know, it's probably not like universal truth, but what I observed and what I really think is that for me, product marketing is like an interface. You have you have the market, you have your customers. They may or may not be aware that they have this need for a product. They have some issues to solve probably, or you can make there's probably something out there that can make their life easier and they don't know about it. And then you have product and innovation. So you may have a very dynamic startup coming up with an awesome innovation. But it's sometimes it's so like uh, so advanced that customers don't know what they can do with it. And I think that's where product marketing intervenes. It's like the translation of those technical features, the great innovation, the amazing progress, and innovation into customer terms. So I would say in most cases, like if you sell simple stuff, and in the past I mean simple, in the past I've sold Microsoft hardware, for example, like keyboards and mice and webcams. People know what to do with those things. It's not easy to market, but they know what to do. They know how it works. It's a common thing. They use it every day. So you just have to map out more benefits to differentiate yourself from the competition. It's a very crowded market with a lot of players, and you need to find differentiators. In a case of a pure innovation, you might need to come up with that usage, those use cases that customers may not be familiar with. So I think that's where product marketing intervenes, takes all these great features that are technical, that are innovative, and put them into customers, consumer words, whether like it's an enterprise customer, a B2B, or a customer shopping at Best Buy or in retail, which is most of my experience, but yeah, or shopping online. So that's really what I think is important. And to for you, as per your question, how do you know that product marketing works? Well, you got to gather lots of data about your products because not only, of course, the messaging should resonate with an audience and they understand what the product does, so they buy it. But then you have indicators like the stickiness. How do your customers stay with you for long term and they start renewing? You need to listen to their question to support and make sure like they understand how the product works and they have no obstacles in using it. And you also have like any little feature adoption. If you can measure that, that's gold. Are they clicking here? Are they using only 10% of your product? Are they leveraging the full solution they're paying for? Are they onboarding more users to it? Is there a harsh learning curve, or is it easy to onboard? Those are important metrics that you should measure. And you start seeing the success when you have high renewal rates, when you also are able to upsell or cross-sell your solutions to your customers. So you need to be aware of your product mix if possible. Again, when I was working in a hardware business, it's easy to understand that you have $15 mouse and a $90 mouse that is ergonomic with a lot of features. So how do you make sure your customers understand the higher model and they see the benefits and and you want to sell more of those, of course. So by understanding your product mix, you know how to move the cursor and adapt your marketing to this, like using those basic products to get your customers to upgrade to something more. So I think seeing an uplift in your product mix, in your average selling price or average transaction price is important. And then trying to being able to measure your feature adoption and how customers are actually interacting with your product.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I know with early stage founders, oftentimes we just have like a hypothesis that we think, oh, this product is really good, this market is going to enjoy and engage with this product. So how do we use product marketing to kind of do that research to validate what the position and the proposition is, or to say maybe we need to pivot a little bit? How do we use product marketing to get some clarity there?
Well, like in any marketing approach, I think A/B testing is key. So if you're not sure about how your product will resonate with an audience, you may try different messages, different like taglines and different articulations of your benefits, and do A/B test and see what where you get more conversions or when you get more forms filled on your website, like requests for information, and what works best. So you need to start creating those use cases and articulate them in different ways to validate your proposal. And I think at the beginning, it's important to be consistent, because you have if your product is super innovative, something that's disruptive in the market, you probably want to go with a simple core benefits that you want to push so that everyone understands what it does. There are cases where you're trying to launch an app or an online product that does X, Y, Z, the whole spectrum, and maybe it dilutes your message and people don't understand what the product is really about and what core value it can bring you. So if you have enough like marketing power and budget, and you can build different landing pages, different case studies for different markets, you can still do that. But if you have a core value prop on your product, I think that's what you should market, and you should go big on that one and see how customers are reacting to it.
Okay, so man, people are always talking about focus, like focus on one thing, but it's so easy to be distracted when you're just starting out, because you're like, oh, this might be a good idea. This might be a good idea. Do you have maybe things that have worked for you that you can use as advice in terms of prioritizing and focusing so that you can get that message out there?
That's an interesting question. I think it's really about, like, if you can listen to your customers. That's the core thing. You can do it with a free survey. We can do it when you have a sales call with them. You can do it in many instances, by the way, but understanding really what your customers are about and what pain points they have in their lives and how you can solve it. I think it's always down to that, always down to the customer.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So, for founders who don't have a lot of like other people on their team, it's a lean team. They're not quite sure what to focus on. What are some things that you would say a lot of people waste time and budget on? They're just spending this time and budget on this thing that they think is important for product marketing, and that you would recommend don't even waste your time or your money on that.
I think targeting too broad is a common mistake. It's easy to go on Facebook or Google or any platform that has a lot of settings available and not calibrate properly. So you will spend money on a lot of unqualified leads or contacts. So it's probably the first area where you can waste money. And then yeah, changing directions or branding all the time. Like
Mm.
the branding is an important component of product marketing and how customers recognize and associate that brand with your value prop. So if you keep changing that because you have this bright new idea or whatever, and you want to change that often, like it might also not establish you as a solid company. So it's good to add innovation, but you need to have like probably consistent branding. You're building it up as a new founder, so it's important to be consistent and get a good maybe graphic designer from the start to have a solid logo and a good tagline or descriptor for what you're doing and lead with that.
Okay, okay. So what does a high leverage product marketing team or PMM look like when you're just starting out?
Well, I think it can be a one person job at first using external services like Fiverr or different creative platforms to get things done. Like if you need graphic material or different collaterals for your activity. And now with AI, you can use a lot of copywriting help. So as a product marketing manager, you can as a single person, you can generate blogs, content, fact sheets, different use cases for different verticals. You can ask AI to help you carve this out, even mimicking some other market that is very close to yours and see what they're up to and ask AI to give you a summary of that. So we have a lot of tools today where you almost have a marketing team that can be in one person. And then, yeah, promoting all that in social media, you need someone maybe to be proficient with the different platforms to promote that in with paid search and social media as a start to disseminate your information.
Okay, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, it's interesting how AI is really changing the way we work, and it's making it so that we can work more efficiently with fewer people. But you still need the knowledge to be able to use AI well, right? Because if a copywriter uses AI, you can see the difference between a regular person using AI. So that's pretty awesome. But speaking about AI, I'm curious to know, how do you use AI? Do you think about it for product research, or like, is there a way that you use AI today?
Yeah, I use it for mostly for content writing, but as I like to keep it a little bit human, I'm usually just asking it to write me like an outline for something. And then I like to just complement it with my own writing so that it doesn't look like plagiarism from another platform. And the game is to also like get a lot of SEO traction. So if all the content online looks the same across similar companies, it's kind of bad, and Google doesn't like that. So it's always good to write your own thing. And sometimes it's still not perfect. So the other day I was using AI for competitive insights. I was asking AI to give me like what are the difference between us and another brand, and they gave me like not so good information because they probably took it from an outdated database or site that was reviewing the product, so it was inaccurate, and I had to review and change that. So I always take it with a grain of salt, and I always take it as a starting point, not really using it to generate everything I need. So yeah, it's more how I see it, and I think it's almost like you're briefing an agency. So if you want a good thing out of an AI tool, you need to think about a good brief, which every marketer knows. Like there's no bad delivery. It's only bad briefs to an agency or whatnot. So it's the same with AI. You need to prompt it properly with like who is your market audience, what you're trying to accomplish, what's the tone of voice of your brand, what are maybe some brands you compare your brand to, and it will elaborate on your value proposal and your content like that.
Mm, that's
So I think of
so
it like
good.
briefing an agency, you brief your AI tool.
Mm. I really like that. I've never thought about it that way, but it makes so much sense because the more information, the more specific information you give AI, the more it can give you, better output. So that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so if we're thinking about GTM, we're thinking about go-to-market systems. How do you architect a GTM system that doesn't just launch features? We're like always launching something new, something exciting, but we're building momentum across the customer journey from awareness to the part where we can upsell them from the different products.
And so I think a good GTM starts with the customer in mind again. Like where are your customers consuming their media, their information? Uh, what is the kind of audience you're trying to reach? What are their issues that you're trying to solve? So with that in mind, you can start like crafting your content. And a good GTM probably has a lot of content involved that you can then disseminate with your other marketing people if you have, or an agency can help you disseminate that in social media. You also need like good sales alignment. Make sure that you're pushing the product in your portfolio that is also the priorities for sales, and that you enable sales to get familiar with the product, know how to. So there's a training component definitely, and as a PMM, I've done that quite a lot, training sales or giving them the tools to translate those features into customer insights and have this sales pitch going on. So lots of demos, but also like explaining with plain words what it does for the customers, not only talking about code or innovation, but what it solves. Um, and I think, yeah, the keeping customers engaged through the journey with like different content levels, making sure you have this funnel approach with different content levels from the awareness to the conversion phase. Every step of the way, you have something to help your customers make their decisions.
Yeah, something to help them to engage with them and then to help them make those decisions. That's awesome. So if, for example, we remove product marketing from a startup today, what will happen? What would break first?
It's a good question. Yeah, probably the connection to that customer need or understanding, because you may have you may miss this layer of making that or evangelizing that technical content and making it into simplified, easy to understand solution solving content. So you will create a little gap between your tech and a potential customer, or you would have to expect that the customer is uh, invested enough or excited enough to do their own research and understand the benefits of your product. So you will probably lose that aspect. Then the branding consistency, I've noticed that a lot. If you have a lot of technical people issuing like product branding and all of that, like it's often gets disjointed. You need that entity to keep things together. You need brand guidelines. You need to try to apply them across your product development, but also your marketing assets, and you need to ensure this continuity. So when a customer visits your website and then they jump into a trial, for example, they need to be in the same sort of branding environment. They need to recognize your brand along the way. So if your product is blue, but your website is red, and then they download the trial and it's green, they don't even remember like who you are. So product marketing ensures this consistency usually across the different teams and the different phases.
Mm. Wow, that's so good. And yes, I have experienced that kind of journey where you start off and the product is orange, and then at some point it turns to blue, and then at another point you see more red, and you're just like, how did I get here? So I could just see how it can be so confusing. So for someone who is like, okay, I see the benefits of product marketing, but I can't do everything. If I can do one thing today or start talking about one thing with my team, what would you say is the first thing that they can start thinking about and trying to understand in terms of product marketing for their startup?
That's a good question. I would say, depending on how big the team is, like if you have one person for sales, you have the founder, you have one marketer and one salesperson, for example. I think you just map your customer, your expected customer journey. You have a great product, you have great features, you have a nice website that's promoting your brand, then the customer fills out a form, starts a trial. What do they do from there? What's the journey? Is it easy? Is it like, do they have like in product marketing that are designed to help them understand the onboarding phase, but also help them convert at the end of their trial? Is there someone to call them at the end of that? So you would probably have to design your flow chart and what we call the happy path, where your customer is doing everything as expected in an easy way, and then see where you may have obstacles or loopholes and make sure everything is consistent. So from
Mm.
there, when you have an ad going out in the market to promote your product, you know that when a customer jumps in, they have the best experience possible. And it's all about a seamless journey. People don't have time to figure out how to process a payment or to install software or to onboard on something. So you need to make that super easy.
Mm. Yeah, that's such a good point. Like, just really design that journey and design that flow and make sure that the flow works the way you want it to work. So
Yeah.
I feel like we can go from here and talk forever and ever, but I want to be super respectful of your time and say thank you so much. But for the people who are watching and they want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to connect?
I'm on LinkedIn, Guillaume Pascual. I probably have my OpenText banner. So yeah, there are, if I have people have several names, mine is with OpenText, so you can find me there and contact me in a private message or as you wish.
Okay, sounds awesome. Well, Guillaume, thank you so much for this conversation. I truly appreciate it. It's been so helpful.
Thank you for having me.